We're live, boys. Welcome
Listen,
back. Welcome
I
back.
I did have to start this. So like for everybody that be in the comments, like
Yeah.
I saw the comments with the Peyton Talbot.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I saw I actually just checked today. I saw you clap back a little bit.
I just let's just start it. How much can you best bench press, bro?
Me?
Yeah. Just,
The most ever, like 3 plates on each side.
all right, just say everybody knows. All right. Just calm it down. Calm
Just
down.
relax a little bit there.
Yeah, relax a little bit, everybody out there. Yeah, I
They're
don't
kind of
think
mad
so.
at me. They're saying
They
that I got a little
were, bro.
fucking
They
heated
were.
about Ariel and all this stuff.
Yeah,
I should
bro.
relax.
Bro, you will fuck Ariel up.
Yeah, I mean Ariel definitely that means nothing as far as like me and Ariel throwing hands. But I will say I feel like I was trying to like in a way I
Ariel
never.
would run. Ariel would run, bro.
Yeah, you know what's funny is like if me and Ariel like were in a room together, I wonder not even like fighting related, but it's like I have no reason to suck his dick. I feel like a lot of people. Oh shit, I probably shouldn't have said that early on. I'm just whatever. Probably lost my monetization already, but like I feel like a lot of people do that, you know. And for me, it's like I'll just stand in the same room with Ariel. Like I don't need any fucking cosign from him.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, like how when we were at the Bellator press conference, sometimes people can't help but be like, "Yo, let me get like a picture with like
Right.
Khabib and shit right there." I didn't
Yeah.
even get a picture with Khabib, but no hate if you did get a picture with Khabib.
I got one.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine. But I was talking more about Ariel, you know, like fuck that guy.
I didn't even know who Ali was.
Yeah. Now this is what I will say. Um, it looks like there's a couple videos of like some other stuff with Peyton Talbot and Frank Ocean that I didn't investigate, but
Mm.
also somebody commented on the original stream. They put the timestamp to where we started talking about Peyton Talbot, and that like cracked me up. That's like one of the
Like, hey,
only comments. He
like,
just timestamped Peyton Talbot.
just jump there. Just
Just jump
jump
right
right
there.
there.
No
Just jump there.
context, just the fucking timestamp.
I like that.
Um,
You know what? Shout out whoever that was that shot him out.
yeah, I don't know his name, but shout out to him.
Yeah.
So, what do we got going on today? We got Jon Jones unretiring.
Yeah.
We got Ben Askren. Shout out to Ben Askren.
Oh man,
Right?
yeah,
Shout
that's
out to Ben
crazy.
Askren. Bro, I don't know what was happening to me, but I was watching that video feeling a wave of emotions coming over me, but I didn't shed any tears. Does that make sense to you?
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
But it was like affecting me. Like I was sitting
Oh
there
yeah, dude,
like
that's hard, bro. That's deep,
yeah,
man.
and not even in a sense of not wanting to look at it. Like I was like compelled, but I don't know, I was just like it really affected me. Kind of just thinking like maybe just it's just a reminder like dude, life is so fucking like
Precious.
precious and like fragile, bro.
Super fragile, man.
Like you're talking
Super
about a
fragile.
guy who had everything going for him one day
Mm-hmm.
and the next day it's just all gone. And we're talking everything going for him. He could fucking probably run like multiple miles if he wanted to.
I mean, he looked a shell of himself,
Man, 147 pounds, he said.
right?
Lost
And
50 pounds.
literally on the brink of death, you know,
Well, he died 4 times. That's what he said.
right. So, you know, and the fight's not over, you know, he's still on an uphill battle of getting back to where he may never go back to where he was.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping for a full recovery. I want to put it out there,
I
you know,
mean,
hopefully.
I'm 100% hoping too, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
A
Just
lot
the
is riding on it. His whole family, you know.
well, and I think too, even if you break it down, you're just glad to be alive,
Mm-hmm.
and you're glad to be breathing and being able to be awake and be function. And then you're like catching up to everything, like what the fuck is, like not even knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
That's it's
It's super impressive, though, the fact that, like, what has it been? I think I looked it up, like 9 days since the surgery, or about eight
yeah,
days, and he's already able to talk
yeah,
by replacing lungs. You know what I mean? Like 8 days.
yeah,
I
yeah,
have no experience with how quick recovery is with that, like if he's ahead of schedule or if that's normal. But I
right,
feel like that's pretty impressive. Like spitting out a whole 2 minute sentence. He
yeah.
was scaring me every time he coughed. I'm like, take it easy, Ben. Take it
I
easy. You
know,
know,
right?
like
Yeah,
take it
yeah,
easy.
yeah.
We
No,
don't
that
even need you to say much right now. Just let us know you're okay. Hop right off that. You know what I mean? We're good. We're not even asking for very much. We
yeah,
appreciate the update though.
yeah, because he's still in a very fragile state.
Definitely.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, passing away 4 times. He said that he basically passed away for 25 seconds at one point. That was one of the longest.
yeah. It's deep.
25 seconds.
Yeah, it's deep.
I was also thinking, you gotta here's a reminder too, to take your fitness and your health seriously, because and kind of being skinny gets a good rap, right? Or gets like that gets hyped up. But look at what happened. Ben had 50 pounds to lose.
Mm.
And so he almost reached like, you know what I mean? Like the guy probably can't get down to like 125, you know what I mean? So he probably reached like his limit right there. Like if he were to lose any more weight, he could have also passed away from like a malnourishment standpoint.
Right. Right.
So that's like a big reminder for people. You want to have some muscle on your body, you know what I mean? Let's say you don't like exercise, it's not even for you. It's good for you in case fucking something like what just happened to Ben happens to you. You have muscle to kind of deal with if your body emaciates. And I don't know if you experienced that with your mom, but with my dad, I definitely experienced that as well. My dad wasn't really muscle bound. He was kind of like heavy, like had a lot of fat on him.
Mm-hmm.
But like through all the cancer and all that stuff over the course of a few months and after like a surgery and all that stuff, super like emaciated.
Really?
Yeah. And it just kind of, that's something that always stuck with me. Like, I don't want to kind of, if I do, the worst case scenario happens, I want to have like a physically fit body with like muscle on me, because I know that is what happens inevitably. You know what I mean? You're going to be reduced. So while you're in that hospital bed, yeah, that's just a reminder to people, even if you don't like working out.
Yeah, and it goes back to a reminder, that like you said in the beginning, life is precious. You know what I mean? Every day, you can't take this every day is for granted.
Yeah,
it goes to show you in a blink of an eye how fast things can change for any one of us.
definitely.
And yeah, it's tough.
And this is also kind of how do I say it? Like, because I'm saying how Ben Askren's thing is a reminder, right? Like how short life can be. But I was affected by that kind of experience. Like, I've had this experience when I was younger, like at like 17 when I lost my dad. So that's why like I can kind of relate to a lot of the stuff where.
Yeah. Were you bedside?
I was kind of like bedside taking care of him. He had like the ventilator and shit like that. So I had to kind of kick it there when doctors weren't in. You know what I mean? So that like there wasn't any, like if there was an issue, I got to be the one to call on a doctor because he can't do it.
Right.
Yeah. But what I was also going to say is these things kind of like replay in my mind now, and they're thoughts that I used to think kind of like when I was dealing with that, which is, like you're just saying every day, like it's your last. And this is another big one that I think about. It kind of evolved into this, but I always think like, when you lay your head down at night, right? We're not always going to accomplish like everything we wanted to accomplish like by the end of the day, right? As far as like what our dreams are. But like, did you take every step towards your dreams that you can today when you end your day? You know what I mean? When you lay your head down on the pillow? Or are there things that you should have done today that you didn't? And for me, that's obviously I'm not perfect. There are times where that does happen, where I didn't do everything. But I think that's a good way to kind of keep yourself accountable of being appreciative of life, is like if you want to be able to think like, or maybe this is extreme, but this is how I think. If today were to end, at least I would be content with all my efforts I did. Even if I didn't reach my goal, I did everything I could to reach it. There's no regret. You know what I mean?
You could hit your
hang your head.
Yeah, high.
Yeah. And that's what these kinds of things, you know what I mean? When someone kind of loses their life or gets near that and kind of makes it out of it, and you see kind of what happens and how they won't be able to live a full life, you're like, or not a full life, but they're a shell of themselves. It kind of reminds you, and that's why I'm just kind of giving some people free game right now. If they also have some of those thoughts as well.
Yeah, and I think too, when you're young, you think you're invincible,
That's the thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
You get 30s, 40s, 50s, you start you start being around and experiencing stuff like this. Hopefully, people don't lose their lives when they were young, but anything can happen to anybody any given time.
Definitely.
Whoever thought anything would happen to Kobe and his daughter, that shit broke my heart. I was like, ooh, his daughter and all the kids in there. What a tragedy.
Definitely. So I guess we'll see what happens, but Ben, I guess that's a super positive.
And that update came out today.
A couple hours ago. But it's a super positive update. Like everything we've been hearing, to see Ben, it's like, damn, he finally fucking made it. He survived that shit. So shout out to Ben, continuing to pray for you, brother, and
to you and your family.
Yeah. Hopefully, like I said, we'll end it with this. Like I started it. We're hoping for a full recovery. You know what I mean? And obviously whatever he can get out of that is what he can get, but we'll hope for the best for Ben Askren.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder
100%.
if Dana White's gonna like, because Dana does throw around his money a lot, like to Nelk Boys and stuff. And I'm not even saying Dana's obligated, but I'm just saying, when you're a guy like Dana, and Ben is a former employee, and maybe Ben does decent for himself. I just wonder if Dana will do anything. It's not even a question. It's just kind of like a thought in my head.
Yeah, no, I think that I don't think there's ever been like we never hear a lot of news of what Dana does behind the scene for things like this, or maybe even the UFC.
Yeah. You hear it a lot about the Nelk Boys.
That's maybe things that we could care less about.
Right, that stuff gets publicized. That's what I'm kind of saying. Like, if you've done it for less, I wonder what you might be compelled to do for Ben. Almost thinking like I'm almost saying I think Dana will do something, or kind of like judging off his past actions. He's giving people money for less.
Right.
Yeah. So,
well, if he's at UFC Nashville,
oh, he ain't gonna be there. Let's be real.
All right.
Apparently, it takes a fucking Ilia Topuria International Fight Week card to do it.
Right.
You probably got to be in Vegas. That's probably one of the things. He probably doesn't even want to travel anymore. He's pulling a Joe Rogan.
So,
I won't go international.
Is UFC? Where's UFC 318 at?
UFC 318 is in New Orleans.
Oof.
We'll see. Like I said, I'm trying to figure out Dana's criteria to show up. I think New Orleans is a newer market, or at least a market he hasn't been to for a while.
Right.
So because it's not one of those annual events where like New Orleans is always on the list. So let's see. Maybe he'll show up there just to kind of make an appearance for business. Yeah.
Have you been to New Orleans?
I have not, but I'm a big fan of the Saints.
Yeah,
Growing up, I was a big fan of the Saints.
Oh, that's odd.
Yeah.
You should go.
Drew Brees.
Yeah, Drew Brees. You should go.
Jimmy Graham.
It's a really fun city. I went to a wedding there. I had the best time of my life.
Okay. I'd like to go there.
Yeah, they did the whole the band in the street and shit.
You do like a crawfish broil and stuff like that.
Yeah, the crawfish. It was fun, bro. I had a really good because it's like Vegas. You could drink anytime you want. Dollar fucking Bloody Mary is like at 6 a.m. in the morning.
What's the street called again?
That I don't remember. Mardi Gras or
Bourbon Street?
Bourbon Street, yeah.
Bourbon Street, right? So you were on Bourbon Street. So in New Orleans, there's kind of like a Las Vegas Strip. That's where Nate Diaz got in that fight with the fucking Logan Paul lookalike. Michael Bisping got in a fight on that street too.
Yeah, everybody's all faded and shit, so I mean, I could see that. But yeah, I tried what was it, alligator? I think it was alligator.
How is that?
It was decent.
I hear it's kind of good.
Yeah, it was decent. It was like soft. It was like not like it had a little. I guess you could compare
chicken.
It.
I heard it tastes like chicken.
You can compare it. Had like a little bit more gamey taste to it though, but like soft and tender, seasoned right. A little chili because they like a lot of spicy food down there. But no, it was fun. It was fun. I'm sure UFC 318. If you're gonna go in at 10, you're gonna have a great time.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, shout out to everybody for UFC 318 then. That'll be a good event in New Orleans. Yeah, now, hopefully they didn't outprice the whole fucking demographic.
I now know my new signature saying.
What's your new signature saying? I just noticed my chair is pretty low.
It's a setup.
Oh, it's a setup. What, you got another setup?
No. Oh, Stephen Thompson, it's a setup. He's about to get ran through.
Yeah, that might be a little premature. That might be a little premature because you're a fan of him. Full disclosure to everybody.
A fan of who?
Of Bonfim. You want Bonfim to win because you've already put yourself out there saying that's your guy.
Bro, that's easy money, dog. That is easy money.
I don't know about easy money.
It's a setup, bro. He's about to get out of the top 15. Gabriel Bonfim's about to slide right in.
So you think Bonfim's a better striker than Wonder Boy?
Yeah. Younger.
Crazy. I don't even think you could say that.
Yeah, younger, more athletic, a better striker. Anything you want to put on the like check mark, Gabriel Bonfim wins.
Okay, so what'll you say next Wednesday? If he proves that he wasn't a striker, it's almost not enough for you to just like willy-nilly say whatever you want and then just be like, oh yeah, sorry, I was wrong. I'll eat my crow. I feel like
we need a penalty.
10 push-ups or something like that. That works.
All right, and like every time I do something, every time like I keep getting it wrong, we have to double it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'll say this. Just like we need to put a disclaimer out to everyone watching right now. All 7 people watching. Shout out to you boys. Shout out to the MMA fan for coming in. He says he always joins at the end. UFC 318 is an overrated card. The title fight is not even a real title. BMF champ got KO'd. It has no value. All right, MMA fan. I hear you, but I'm kind of, I'm just not being negative about this card. I hear you're fucking. Wait, let me say this. Sorry to cut you off. MTK with Bonfim is like me with the women's division. You have to take his thoughts with a grain of salt because he's already emotionally invested. Right. Just like me with the women. So we'll just put that as a disclaimer.
I mean, bro, Bonfim's the real deal.
I mean, he put out Chaos Williams good.
Don't get it. Not only that, bro. He's the dude's fucking deadly. We'll find out. Hey, Saturday.
Who did he lose to? He lost to somebody, right?
He lost to Nick Dalby. He got knocked out.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
And you know what? And I think that's a good learning lesson for him. Joshua Van got knocked out by Charles Johnson. So you know what I mean? Like it happens. Mm-hmm. It happens. You know what I mean? But he gets this win. He pushes. Bro, Stephen Thompson's 42. It's not like we're talking about a Stephen Thompson that's 34 in his prime, fucking trying to get in the top. Bro, this is it. This is the last ride. He had a great career. He's a veteran, maybe be Hall of Famer. This is it, dog.
Honestly,
we ain't doing no championship runs. That's why the UFC set him up. They gave him a Bonfim, a dude that's on the rise.
Okay. Well, they gave him an unranked guy, right? He's not even ranked at the moment.
Bonfim is not ranked.
Yeah,
he's
so,
on the cusp of getting ranked.
So if
Randy Brown's gonna be mad.
Yeah. So UFC probably, because he's going from Buckley, who was like an 8 at the time or something like that, or whatever Buckley was.
Dude, they're speeding Stephen Thompson wolves.
Yeah.
They're setting him up all the way to the fucking sunset to be like.
Well, I'm almost thinking they could have gave him a harder matchup.
Go be a commentator now.
I'm almost thinking they could have gave him a harder matchup, but they're trying to give him a more even one.
And I think that the matchmakers are saying, all right, so we're going to give you a ranked guy, and this is a rising star to get into the top 15 rankings. Because
star, though, we got it. Star.
He's a rising star.
Does he speak English?
Okay.
We
not check. Okay, so there's a box we're not checking off.
Oh, there's several that he's not checking off. There's fucking several. But he's good. He's a contender.
You're right when it comes to that. Actually, you know what? I'll admit you're right because we've talked about this before. What it takes to really be a star. There's a lot of things in speaking English. You gotta add that into the repertoire.
He's Brazilian though. That's a big thing that helps you. You got a big fan base that supports you. You learn some English, then you get the American fans. You got the Brazilian fans. Free game for Bonfim.
He's a finisher too.
Yeah, and what was I just gonna say? He's a contender. He's a contender for sure.
That's a great one. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Okay, and so they're giving him a top 15 contender guy, right?
It should be a good one.
No, it should be a good one because Stephen Thompson, he's one of those gatekeepers.
It's going to happen this weekend. Is that why you're talking about it right now?
Yeah, it's this Saturday.
Okay, because this card is just going by like zero promo for it. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody really talking about this card.
Honestly,
so
you know what? This is for.
I'm gonna do a stream on Saturday, but I have no clue who's fighting.
This is for like your.
Let me pull it up for fucking just for everyone.
This is for your diehards. This is for your diehards for sure. Because I looked at it and I was like, all right, I do like some of these fights.
I'm sure I'll like some of the fights. It's just as far as like nobody's been talking about it.
And we had a couple weeks off, right?
Yeah. Okay, we got Wonder Boy, Cater Garcia, good fight. I'll watch it.
That's a good one. The Qatar versus Garcia, I like that matchup.
Landwehr Charrier, that's a good one.
That is a good one.
Vitor Petrino versus Austin Lane. I think they're setting now that might be a setup for Austin Lane, meaning Vitor's gonna knock his ass out.
He's minus 750.
But we're talking about so Vitor. Oh wait a minute, Vitor Petrino is moving up to heavyweight for everyone that's fucking doesn't know that. And he's a former light heavyweight. He lost to Anthony Smith. Vitor Petrino.
I love the
Junior
people that
Tafa,
are actually...
Tuco.
look at, I love the people that are watching this with us. Look at, we can dig deep. This isn't just about like the big star names. You know what I mean? Like we can really dig deep. Matt Griffin versus Chris Curtis. I'm really excited about that fight too, and it's a prelim.
Jake Matthews, Chitty. That's a good
Chitty,
fight.
dude, Chitty, dude. Yeah, that's a great fight. Like,
I'd like to see how Jake Matthews does here. We're talking 21 and
and
7 versus 25 and 10 record.
and I was high on Jake Matthews. I believe he lost his last fight, and Chitty's just won his last 2 or 3, I believe.
Jake Matthews is on a 2-fight winning streak. He beat Phil Rowe, shout out to Phil Rowe,
okay.
and Francisco Prado.
And
He hasn't lost to Michael Morales.
That's see, I like this fight. The matchmakers did a good job on this one.
Yeah. Let's keep going. Lauren Murphy and Kennedy Nzanjuku versus Walter Walker. I'm there for that one. Mike Davis, Mitch Ramirez. That'll be. I'll play Dana White. If you don't know, boys, now you know. Mike Davis versus Mitch Ramirez. Mitch Ramirez. Let me give you guys a little heads up on Mitch Ramirez here.
All right.
I think he was convicted to like 10 years in prison for an armed robbery when he was like fucking 18 years old in Utah. Made it to the UFC after getting out. We have an interview. You guys can go look at that interview with Mitch Ramirez. And I've got several interviews with Mike Davis. And I'm not just plugging it because they've been on my show. This is it. If you don't know, now you know.
It'll be a banger.
You're talking about a guy who was in prison for 10 years, made it all the way up to the UFC now. He hasn't been doing that well. Also, for the record, this man is who Carlos Prates knocked out to get into the UFC, Mitch Ramirez.
Okay.
So, you know, Mitch is 0-1 in the UFC. And then if you count contender, he's 0-2.
You know, and this is what I love what the matchmakers do. They're both coming off a loss. So there's so much of a magnitude for both of these guys coming into the fight because no one can afford a loss.
Yeah.
No one can afford I mean, because it's just vital to your livelihood.
Mm-hmm. This fight does have big stakes, even though it might not seem like it. Believe me when I tell you, it has big stakes, and believe MTK when he tells you.
Yeah,
big stakes.
And I mean big stakes in the matter of your livelihood. Like, hey, when I wake up tomorrow morning, am I still in the UFC?
Yeah. Big stakes for each fighter.
Right.
Not for us as fans, but big stakes for each fighter.
100%. That's what that's the second fight in the prelims.
And then you got Fatima Klein
versus So for everybody who will always be calling us casuals and shit, here's your casual talk right now.
Yeah. This is the fucking hardcore talk for you guys before we get into some other.
And the thing is, like, we actually know the fighters we're talking about here, and a lot of people would never even know. Like, they could care less. And it was
for sure.
When you and I first started tuning in, like, I'm like, bro, we'll watch the prelims. Like, I don't know, man. But I'm excited for these type of fights because in a year from now, you can see like, oh, bro, no, they fucking earned their stripes to get here.
Yeah, well, you know, I will say that these are some better fights than what they've been putting on early in the year.
Yeah. No, it's a low-key card. It's a low-key
some of those early year cards were pretty shit. I think this one's decent.
I'd rather watch all these fights instead of the main fight, which, I mean, the main fight's exciting just because it's heavyweights and what's his name is always an exciting fighter too.
Derek Lewis. I'll always watch Derek Lewis fight.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. He's always going to give you something on the mic.
Wonder Boy Bonfim, I'm tuning in.
Yeah, co-main. Yeah. Hey, Bonfim's earned now a spot to get on the co-main. Stephen Thompson always been, you know, on pay-per-view cards. So I think, like I said, I think, you know, Stephen, it's time for him to be with Anthony Smith there in the commentator box, and he's a great commentator.
Okay, let's see.
He had his time.
And Stephen hasn't come out and said it's his retirement fight. I don't know if he's done any interviews, but I'll say this. Let's say Wonder Boy wins, retire, bro. Retire. Yeah. Or else you're going to fucking, you know, you're going to get knocked out and have to retire that way. If you win this shit, retire.
Yeah.
End it on a high note.
What is that? Do you have the line in front of you?
I could pull
I think Bonfim's -4 or something.
I'll pull up the Tapology odds sometimes. Okay, so because the fans can pick on Tapology. So they got Bonfim a 3-1 favorite over Wonder Boy.
Yeah.
And they're mostly going submission. So, I mean, I'm not super familiar with Bonfim. I've seen him fight, but I don't know, like, his full-on style. Like, what he's, like, super good at or what he specializes in. It seems like he specializes in jiu-jitsu.
No, he's jiu-jitsu, but the boy got hands.
Well, he's got power in his hands, right?
That's power, yes.
Yeah. He swings hard. He puts people out like he did to fucking... Chaos, but I guess he's a jiu-jitsu ace. that's his bread and butter is the jiu-jitsu, but he's
Oh yeah,
developed some good hands.
because that last fight versus Chaos, bro, I really felt like he learned in that fight. Like he didn't rush and he kind of picked Chaos apart.
Yeah.
And when the time came, bro, he got that submission. It was over. Um, I wish I thought he, the Nick Dalby caught. He just got caught.
That's fine. It's just you need more body of work, right? If you do a lot of losses, like this is the thing with Charles, right? He's lost so many times that you really can kind of like say with a certain amount of certainty what'll happen to him because he's done it time and time again. He kind of like shows a repeated mistake. Charles Oliveira. That's why with this Ilia Topuria fight, a lot of people were like, this is what was going to happen. And it's funny to me too. I guess we'll just jump into this one because I just brought up Charles. Right. Today he came out saying like I would have changed everything about that Ilia fight. We had a different game plan, blah 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 blah, which is fine, right? But my thing is Charles, we all knew you were gonna fight that way. Like that's always how you fight anyway. So I know that you say you would have done it differently, but like, and you already said you game planned for it too, and the game plan went out the window. Like that's always how you fight. So I don't know where he's regretting it really, because you could say that, but like Charles, you could say that today again, just like you told your coaches you were gonna fight that way, right? But when you step in that cage, Charles, you're gonna do the same shit you always do. And I just feel like he doesn't even need to apologize or like regret anything. It's like he should just kind of be like Brandon Royval. This is just how I fight.
You know what?
This is just how I fight.
And it goes back to like not Brandon Royval, but I wasn't even say Joshua Van. Joshua Van swallowed it and took that loss and just kept looking forward.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I got knocked out, whatever. Like, dude, like, that's the mindset you got to have.
Yeah.
Like, hey, no big deal. Sure, everybody, we all get knocked out. Who's next? Who's next? Who's next? Right. Who's next? And let me go run through those motherfuckers and shit.
No need to fucking regret what you did and all that stuff. It's, you know what I mean? Let's just move on from that shit.
Because a win, everything changes.
Yeah. And it's like for some of these fighters like a Royval, for an Oliveira, the same thing that brings you your success is kind of what your demise is.
True.
You know what I mean? It's like kill or be killed, literally, for those two at least. Either you're gonna win fucking just spamming, you know what I mean? Or if you're Oliveira, doing whatever Oliveira does, just pressing forward. Or Oliveira's gonna run into a guy who can slip punches and box a little bit, and Oliveira's gonna get knocked out. Right. You know what I mean? But then he beat Dustin Poirier, so yeah.
I was gonna say, let's see if I could find it real quick.
Charles the GOAT, GM Bane. Yeah, everybody loves Charles. Actually, let me say this about Charles. You probably aren't going to like... I know your mind doesn't work this way. Maybe you'll surprise me. But I was watching some of the footage of...
Damn, that was like a jab, but like very like respectful. Fuck, bro.
I always just talk so matter of fact. I don't mean anything personal by anything I say. But because I'm kind of going down a conspiracy, right? I'm just foreshadowing. Okay. See what I mean? So in my mind, I think conspiracy. I'm like, I know MTK doesn't think this way. So I've been watching some of Oliveira's. Let me start it with this. I notice people always ask Oliveira about his camp and all the prayers, right? And all that stuff. And I'm not trying to talk shit on prayers by any means. But they always talk about, like, Charles, what's up with your camp and all the support they give you and, like, you know, the weight cuts and them like, the emotional weight cuts and this and that. Charles kind of responds and he's like, this is shoot the box. You know what I mean? People are always going to ask, but they'll never understand what it is, so I don't feel like saying it. That's kind of like what he said during fight week. And I was like, you know, okay, that is what it is. It's a close-knit team and all that stuff. I took it at face value like I normally do with things. But then some footage came out today of Charles and his team praying before the fight. And again, Charles is crying. And, like, they do this whole circle around the room. And I get prayer circles, so I'm not trying to be anti-religious. But like, it's so emotional, right? The coach is even wiping tears off his eyes. And, like, I'm just starting to feel like, is this team a cult? And I'm being almost pretty serious when I ask this question. And I wonder, like, is that why people are asking Charles? And is that why Charles is almost kind of getting offended when people ask? Because, like, again, like the Peyton Talbot thing. People asking pointed questions. They have a narrative that they're thinking, but they don't want to answer it. Or they don't want to voice it.
I would say for me, from the outside looking in, which I have no opinion one way or... I mean, I've never had an opinion about their camp.
Shoot the box, yeah.
Yeah. But I have been around people that just get more emotional and that's their thing. And I think that's just their thing. That's just how they roll, right? They're and wear their heart on their sleeves, and a lot of people that are involved in there just have, you know, drinking that, yeah, drinking that Kool-Aid, I guess you could say. You know what I mean? Like they're all in with that.
It's the environment.
Yeah, because even Ian Gary, he's all in.
Yeah.
So he's all, crying and with all of them and shit. So like, yeah, I guess you could say it's, a cult type of vibe. Because let's say you go in there, right, and you join their crew.
You're kind
and
of like,
yeah. You're like, am I supposed to jump in this or
you gotta like buy in, right, to whatever.
You gotta buy in. That's the word.
You
gotta buy in.
You gotta buy into Shootbox. It's not just joining the team and showing up.
There's
practices.
There's more layers to it.
There's more layers to it for sure.
And they're willing to wear their hearts on their sleeve. And if you could wear your heart on your sleeve too, you'll probably mix in very well with them.
Yeah. But even like if not, and we'll pretty much leave it at that. But I just had one other thought.
Like Sean Strickland may not fit in well there.
Definitely not. Well, the other thing is like, think about it. Just, I guess if you add to the storyline of Colt, the haircuts, everybody bleaches their hair. So there's some shit.
You could do that with the fighting nerds too, though.
You could do that with wait, do they all have the same haircut?
No, but they do the glass. You know what I mean? They all
glasses. Yeah.
They have a thing.
It's your gimmick, right?
It's your gimmick.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's two arguments for it. I guess depends on what you want to put your fucking your beliefs in. But I think it's all good. I don't think it's anything super devious. I think sometimes MMA brings that out of you because it's such a lonely and dark sport. There's so much like mental like all that second guessing they have to deal with. So I think it sometimes it just maybe breeds that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That support system because everybody knows what they're going through. I mean, I think what else is, I'm trying to think of what's in the thumbnail that we got to touch on at the very least, and I think
I did want to bring up the whole Randy Couture thing.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go. Wait, you got something about Randy?
No, it would just
I didn't pay much attention to it.
Well, no, I mean it just goes to like what we were talking about earlier with Ben Askren. I mean, Randy Couture is a UFC Hall of Fame legend. You know what I mean? Like he's over there now in the hospital. I don't know how serious it is, and I at least just wanted to take time to pay my respects and hope to him and his family and be like, hey, I hope everything is okay, that it's not not life threatening.
Yeah, I'll pay my respects to Randy Couture as well. Hopefully he's doing okay. I don't.
And he was airlifted to the hospital after a racing accident.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how serious that is. You know what I mean? That doesn't sound good.
It just, I guess, depends. Like, was there a hospital nearby and shit? Because I have a homie. He was also airlifted one time when he got in a crash at like the sand dunes in Arizona. So I don't know.
Second degree burns.
When I read the injuries, it didn't seem like it was super bad, to be honest with you. But I don't want to make any judgments. So whatever he's dealing with, hopefully he's doing okay. But I'm saying it didn't sound super bad, meaning I think he might, I don't think he's dealing with life-threatening injuries. But again, all the best to Randy Couture.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to say too.
Okay, for sure. Two other topics, I guess, that I'm thinking of. Jon Jones. I mean, let's just hit this real quick. This is actually one of the most tired topics, and I think I'll just go on a little, not a rant fully, but I'll just put this out there real quick. The MMA media space is so like, and I guess I'm going to be a part of it right now, but not really, because this will be such a small topic of today, but I realize that like this is the fucking main title for every single YouTube channel. You got DC, you know what I mean? You got Ariel, you got Bisping. All these YouTube channels are all talking about the
Your
same
subject
thing,
headline,
which is the fucking White House and all that stuff. I didn't even put that in today's headline. But so yeah, I mean, I think that's annoying, but because there's so much other things to talk about. Like I said, this will be a small topic of today, and it's actually more so that Jon Jones unretired than it has to do with the White House. But the White House ties in because that's why he unretired.
Do you think? We talked about this last time. Do you think his attorney was like, "Hey, we got this"?
Yeah,
go call Dana back up, bro. Get your ass back in. I think that's what I think. They're going to go to court and some small misdemeanor, and he's like, "Whoop, let's go."
And so here, how about this, right? So I mean, yeah, you already know I think that because I already said that last week, right? We both agreed on that last week. Like, John's probably going to come back as soon as this fucking legal case wraps. And, okay, so this, again, we got to, right, this isn't even conspiracizing. This is just trying to piece things together because the UFC doesn't give a shit.
Right.
Okay? They didn't fucking acknowledge Tom Aspinall as the undisputed champion at the event. Now I'm starting to think, Is this because Jon Jones is coming back? Does the UFC now know things that we don't know?
Hey, but could
What's
they
the
just?
reluctancy?
Hey, could they just be like, no, Jon Jones still the champ.
See, that's what I'm trying to say. What's the reluctancy? Is Jon still the champ? Is Jon coming back? Why haven't you announced fucking Aspinall as the undisputed? I was expecting that.
He's on the UFC on the website. He's the champ though still,
Yeah,
right?
but they're supposed to do this ceremony for
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
It's that's the crowning achievement.
Yeah.
They didn't even fucking acknowledge him in like the thing. Like, you know when they put the camera on you, they weren't even like our heavyweight champion, you know?
Right.
So I'm starting to be really sus that Jon Jones is coming back like soon, and he's fighting Tom Aspinall.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be crazy.
I think that's what's gonna fucking happen. I just have a gut feeling about this.
Yeah.
I have a gut feeling about this. We all know that the court system doesn't have shit on Jon in this case. I told you that too when we broke it down. I said, you said, what's gonna happen to Jon? I said, nothing, bro, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing ever happens to him. He's all good.
Yeah. I mean, no one like died or anything. You know what I mean?
He's all good, bro.
Yeah. Another hit and run, no big deal.
$2,000. I mean, what? He could pay it if it was $20,000. It don't matter.
Yeah, did little shrooms, no big deal.
Yeah.
Argued with the cops.
So Jon's unretired, and I think, you know, if you are a follower of this show, you know that we knew this was happening. So there's not much to get into. You know what I mean? This is just par for the course of what we believe is going to happen. And now I'm kind of saying I feel like I can see it happening now. A big shocking headline: Jon Jones is out of retirement and he's fighting Tom Aspinall. We got the deal done. Let me ask you this:
would you rather him fight at the end of the year or fight at the White House next year?
See, my thing is,
you care about the White House fight?
I just don't see it like when is this happening? Like, what card is it? Like, what month is it? I guess they said 4th of July next year, right? 4th of July. Yeah, I mean, there is no 4th of July card. We just had a bye weekend.
Right.
So, like, I don't know what they want.
I mean, I'm sure that they would move things around in order to. I mean, of course they would move things around, but I don't know. The fighting at the White House doesn't excite me. Like, cool.
Yeah, and I think
Strickland would love to fight on there. I guess Bryce Mitchell would like to fight. You could get a bunch of, like, you know, guys that would love to fight on there, but I don't know.
Yeah, okay, so let me go, and I'm no like genius, but I feel like I'm gonna seem like a genius here, and maybe I'm wrong. So if somebody's a fucking better genius than me, then call me out. But here's my theory, because nobody's really said this. If you're talking about the White House, right, and you're talking about it being obviously a pay-per-view card or something like that, then the UFC has to like have a venue booked up for that month, right? That takes like a lot of time and planning. Like, you gotta have a venue booked out like ahead of time, right? A few months out, whatever X amount of months it is. So I think that the UFC needs to, like, that's a logistic. Can the UFC like lock in a date for the White House ahead of time? Because if not, you need to have a venue for a UFC numbered card. You feel me? Mm-hmm. And you can't just be like, oh, 3 months out, we're gonna do it here. Like, it needs to all be approved. So, like, what are all the logistics that needs to get approved? 45,000 seating arena, because it's apparently going to be held in the front lawn of the White House. Right. So, like, I mean, you guys better start getting to fucking work, because by the time you get all those logistics approved, you know what I mean? You're probably pushing on the deadline of getting a venue booked for the numbered pay-per-view card you're calling for.
Right.
You feel me?
And I would assume too, like, if they were going to do it at the White House, they'd want to like just go massive.
Yeah, so I mean, think about all the fucking government approvals you got to get for that shit. Or the city, you know what I mean? The city permits and all this stuff. I know it's at the White House, but you don't just get to do whatever you want.
Trump could just sign an executive order.
Yeah, but you still probably gotta like mandate it and let the city and the government know. Because there's other shit too. I've heard of other stuff like the fire department has to approve it because the fire department has to have enough resources. I'm sure they do because it's at the White House. But I'm just saying, you have to double check it. You can't just be like, oh, it's the White House, we gotta do whatever we want. Right. You still have to run through the logistics.
I feel you.
And shout out to Just Jew. He said they still have to build this whole White House arena. Exactly, Brody. And by the time they get that shit built, they got to get it approved for a numbered card. And I mean, I feel like it's going to be stressful. They probably, because think about it, Honda Center, right? They're already like, they're like, hey, UFC, like, we're open, we're ready for you anytime. Give us the date, we'll have you. You know what I mean? Versus the White House, it's like,
we still haven't announced that, huh?
And all this other stuff. No, and they said they were going to come here multiple times this year.
And now it looks like it's going to become one time a year. And they have what was a 3-year
contract. 3 times they said, right?
I thought it was a 3 fight contract for 3 years.
Something like that, like 3 times a
They know
year.
I know they're coming once. That I do know.
Yeah, well, we're fucking pushing up on. I mean, it's July, no card. Next month's not Honda Center.
Well, yeah, we already got booked out to what?
I think they're booked out till
October.
September.
October. There's already fights scheduled for October.
Is the numbered card scheduled for October? Do we have one open yet? What would that be? 320? November is always MSG. I think December is always in Florida. So, I mean, really, that only leaves October for the UFC to come to Anaheim. If I'm being fucking just using my genius.
So we got the Diego Lopez versus Silva in San Antonio. That's mid-September.
So September's locked in. October's not locked in.
October 18th. 321 is going to be in Abu Dhabi. That's October 25th.
Okay.
The last thing they have is November 22nd at Qatar. So they're Abu Dhabi up and they got Qatar up. So October, November.
So I wonder when they're probably not even coming to Anaheim this year.
Nah, they got to do them once.
If all the number cards are filled up, though. Because MSG is November.
Be a fight night?
I don't think you could do fight night at Honda Center.
See, the last time they did it was UFC when Volk got knocked out by.
Well, maybe they will.
That was last year in like January, February.
Like a UFC Anaheim fight night.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck it, do that. That's more affordable for me anyway. I could actually attend that. The fucking, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
December is usually Vegas. Jew, is it? Because last year, no, you might be right. But I'll have to double check that because last year the numbered card for December was in Florida, if you remember that correctly.
With Ian Gary?
Yeah, with Ian Gary and Shavkat.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the year before that was O'Malley.
Yeah, that I don't remember.
Unless it's August that the UFC comes to Florida. But it's there's 1 month out of the year that UFC always comes to Florida. With that topic kind of coming to an end, the stolen valor, Tim Kennedy.
Yeah, I was looking at that. It was so basically he said he did receive the award, and then we found out that he didn't get the award.
Mm-hmm. And there's a real big issue with this.
Oh yeah,
several big issues with this.
Yeah,
starting with the fact that you disgraced all the men's hard work who actually did achieve that. Let's start with that.
In the military.
The disrespect, right? Taking their crowning achievement. Number 2, in his thing, he says, let me actually just read it. Actually, I don't even want to read the full thing. You can go look at the fucking Instagram, but the guy's a dumbass, so I'm just going to read the main thing you need to hear, which is, I implied directly or indirectly that I was awarded the Bronze Star with Valor. That is not true. So, you implied directly or indirectly, so you're not taking ownership, but you're taking ownership.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I said it, but I didn't say it. I said it, but I didn't say it. Yeah, I said it, but I didn't say it.
Let me translate for you. You're sorry you got caught, Brody. That's the only thing you're sorry for is that you got caught. And that's the only reason why you're apologizing. So get your fucking fake ass apology out of here. We don't want to hear it. Go apologize to the veterans. You did this because you wanted to sell a book. You fraudulent piece of crap.
Yeah.
You got Joe Rogan like a fucking fool crying on his podcast about the war stories you told him that weren't even fucking true.
That's crazy work, bro.
That's crazy, crazy work.
Crazy.
Joe Rogan, did you talk to Tim Kennedy about that? Oh my God, Joe Rogan, you can stop crying now, Brody. It's all fucking fake.
And not only that, you could never look a person in the military in the eye again. You know what I mean? Because you're a piece of. I live in San Diego, so like the military is heavy out here. You feel me?
Get rid of your uniform, bro.
Yeah.
You can, and he also there's other things too that like people have exposed. Like he claims like these war stories where like he like was a member of authority, right, in the army or wherever he was. And that's not true. He was never like a member of authority to where like he could call out other soldiers and shit like that. So I want to say that this is one of many lies that he is just now admitted to. But this is not the only lie. Because I see a lot of people, oh, well, at least he fucking admitted it. It takes a real man to admit it. Cub Swanson. Get your sorry ass out of here, bro. I'm about to be pissed off at you, too. With that stupid ass fucking opinion. You know what I mean? Calling him a good man and shit like that. He's a fraud, bro. He's a fraud and a brainwasher.
Yeah.
And a fucking fake alpha male.
And if you because you start peeling back the layers, right? You start peeling back the layers, and you see for people for who they really are and what they're doing in order to try to. I mean, honestly, it's clout, money, fame, all of the things that they're wanting and needing to make them feel, like look at me.
Mm-hmm.
Going on like you just said, like going on Joe Rogan. I mean, what, you're gonna get an Oscar now?
Right.
He should become an actor.
He should be ashamed of himself. Is what he should be.
Well, yeah. And some people don't have they have no moral compass either, so they could swallow that. But that's hard for me personally to ever swallow. So I mean, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And here's what I imagine happening. They approach him. Oh, you're a former UFC fighter. You were a soldier, because that was his big thing too. When he was in the UFC, he was always trying to sell that as his gimmick. So I'm sure after he retires, he gets approached or whatever the case. You're a soldier. Let's do a book. You know what I mean? Tell us your war stories. And then once they start getting to the minutia, they're like, oh, so you don't got anything else you could tell us? Like, what about this? What about that? Can we doctor anything up? Because this isn't worth selling a book. No, we're not going to sell any copies. We need an accolade. We need something, right, to get people to buy the book.
And you start selling your soul.
And this fucking clown did it. This fucking clown did it. He sold his damn soul.
Yeah.
And that's what disgusts me. And then you just turn around after you make all those dollars, you print all that money, right? You go on Joe Rogan, get Joe Rogan to sell your book for you, because that's pretty much, if people aren't familiar, Joe's also been pissing me off lately. I don't know what his deal is. He does have good episodes from here and there, but like, and this isn't even a big criticism, but for the record, Joe has a lot of people on who like just come out and release new books. And the whole idea behind having them on is because they just released a book and he's trying to help them sell it. And that's exactly why he had Tim Kennedy on, where Tim Kennedy got a platform to sell bullshit-ass war stories, which turned into actual sales on books.
Right. No, 100%.
100%.
I mean, it's like going on Oprah, right? It's a modern-day Oprah.
Yeah, definitely. Joe Rogan is like the Oprah for men, right?
Yeah.
So another thing, this is the biggest issue with him, right, is that a podcast about about December of last year came out, really kind of exposing him. It did its waves on social media. I may have posted about it. I may not have. I'm not fully sure, honestly. I do remember reading about it, and I mean, I at least thought it was post-worthy, so I probably did post about it. But they claimed about all of his stuff being fake, right? So what resulted in that is his sponsor, Black Rifle Coffee Company, saw those allegations or those accusations in that video from former vets. They're veterans themselves. So they know all the terminology and they read through it. Right. And that's why they deciphered that Tim's a fraud. Long story short, after that video comes out, his sponsor drops him, Black Rifle Coffee Company. And in their contract for the sponsorship, it said something along the lines of like, if there is stolen valor, right, then like we will cancel this sponsorship. Meaning like that, you know what I mean? That's something that could terminate the clause.
Right.
And that's fair. I think that's how all business works. Like if we find out you fucking lied about everything you've been saying, then no.
Well, you lose all your credibility of what we were trying to sell.
Yeah. So then we're just gonna drop you, and there's no legal shit you can do. So they did that to him, and what he did is he has a website where he sells his books and all this other stuff, and he kept Black Rifle Company
on there
up as a sponsor. And so they contacted him multiple times, take it down, take it down, take it down. He didn't take it down. They finally threatened legal action. And then the issue with this, because I was trying to piece it together, like why did he take it down though, his website, when they threatened legal action? And again, the reason why is because the legal action was going to expose the clause in the contract of you could terminate if there's stolen valor. So there's about to be a whole entire lawsuit over the fact of his stolen valor if they pursued that. And so that's why he deleted his website, because he doesn't want to go through a lawsuit with stolen valor because he knows he lied. And that's why he just came out and admitted to it too. And now he's like kind of getting ahead of everything, meaning like he just admitted to it, giving Black Rifle Coffee Company the green light to drop him as a sponsor because he just admitted to it. But what he saves is all the other lies he told don't get to be revealed in court. That's what was going to happen if he went to court with Black Rifle Coffee Company. So
Right.
that's what doesn't meet the eye. That's what nobody wants to talk about. When people be saying, "Oh, at least he admitted it." No, he
Yeah, let me
admitted it because the clause in his contract was about to expose a lot more than that.
let me ask you this as a a podcaster in this space, as a journalist in MMA, how do you take a stand on something like this, knowing a lot of people may say, "Oh, Perry Punch, that he's wrong for saying that," because you'll get backlash from
Mm.
people. So
I
I'm just
think
wondering, like, how do you stand on that as a platform?
I
I'm
feel like
interested.
so that's why I always let my moral compass like direct things. And even if I'm not a fan of something, like I'll be honest about it. You know what I mean? Like with the women's division, like sure I talk shit, but like I always say, I just don't like it. You know what I mean? Shoot me
Yeah,
over it. You know what I mean? Like come
right.
on, I don't like it, but I'm open about it. With this, I just use my moral compass. If I notice that there's flaws in things, I'll point them out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would be the first person to come on here if it comes out that Tim Kennedy wasn't a fraud, but Tim Kennedy admitted himself that he's a fraud.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's what I'm kind of careful about. Is just, I guess, not casting too much judgment, but like when I can cast judgment, I'll cast the judgment.
Right. Right.
And for this one, I feel like I don't feel bad about it because of all the things I just listed, right? The fact that it's not a real apology. So I guess I look deeper into things. If I didn't look at the whole thing of why the sponsor dropped him and why he admitted to it, see, I just get curious like that. Like, I always
Huh.
want to know, like, the whole thing behind it. And so if I didn't do that homework, I probably wouldn't be able to feel as compelled to say what I want to say. You feel me?
Right.
But I guess
Right.
because I do the homework, it kind of comes with an opinion. After a
Mm-hmm.
while, you be reading that shit and you're like, your blood starts to boil or you kind of start to feel bad for somebody. With BJ Penn, it's almost like both. Like, I almost don't believe BJ, but I feel sorry for him. So that's like a confliction where I
That's a
don't
whole nother.
I don't always know where to fall because you're
That's a whole
asking,
nother.
but you are
Yeah.
asking me like how do you know where to fall sometimes, and for that one I'll
Right.
admit, I want to support BJ, but then there's some things where I'm like, dude, you must be bullshitting.
Or there's something wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And this guy did something complete where he was just kept on making up shit, just kept on making up shit, just
mm,
to keep chasing whatever he was chasing when it comes to money and fame.
mm,
And then it got to a point where,
he had to fucking finally admit to it.
well, I mean, I'm sure too, he's living a double life, right? He's living oh yeah, I did all this, blah 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 blah. You got it written, you got fucking books, you got to stand on that. You know what I mean? It takes one person to fucking do a little bit of investigation. Like, did you
Hmm.
get the award? Because
And my thing is, he's so boastful about it. If I was him and I made that book
yeah,
and everything,
I see
I
what
would
you're saying,
fucking just like really like keep that shit like under wraps after it's all said
bro.
and done. He's
Bro,
like posting in military uniforms as we speak.
yeah, you could probably post that video of him crying on Joe Rogan and then like,
Yeah, I did post it when I fucking notified everyone of him admitting stolen valor. Yeah. And okay, so also just because I like that question that you gave me, but I'll say this one too. That's why I'm wondering if I did post about it last year when those people brought it up on a podcast. But like when they brought it up on a podcast, if I did post about it, I don't think I was like fuck Tim Kennedy then. But now I'm like fuck Tim Kennedy. You
well,
feel
you
me?
probably gave him the benefit of the doubt at the time.
I did. And that's what I try to do most of the time. I'd rather look dumb for being like for giving someone credit, right? Than be an asshole for. That's why with BJ I'm conflicted because I'm okay
Yeah.
with looking dumb to give him credit, than looking like a dick and then it turns out he was right and nobody was ever listening to him in the first place. You feel me? Because I'd feel
Right.
bad about that. I really would actually feel bad about that.
And didn't BJ Penn just ask the judge to do a DNA test?
Yeah, I think he's asking for that.
Yeah. So I mean,
So let's give him that shit. Let's find out.
give
I'm
him,
all about
let's
answers,
find out.
bro.
Let's find
I'm
out.
all about answers. That's all I want is
Yeah.
the truth.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's all about Tim Kennedy. But I did want to just show you something real quick, which is like a Tim Kennedy. I want to pull up his Instagram because this guy is just so fucking like annoying to listen to. And like I'm a fitness guy, right? Like I like hitting the gym all the time. Like I'm big into it. I got like fitness influencers I like Sam Solik. Shout out to Sam Solik. But this
Yeah,
guy.
there's a few things. There was a few things I forgot we even that you brought up. Okay, I was looking at the list again.
Let me pull this up real quick. I gotta find the right toxic ass
You know what
basketball
we should
video.
do in the beginning is I wonder if we could put a screenshot of all the topics. Like
I
right
could
when
probably just put that up on screen. I could. Let me find one of these toxic ass stupid videos real quick.
Okay. That's probably what pisses you off too. Because that's super fake.
Super fake.
Yeah.
I probably can't find shit right now. There was one recently where he was like flexing a workout, and I just hated watching it.
Did
And
you
he's just
cringe?
like telling other people like get up and go out and be active. Oh, here it is.
Right.
Like, dude, this guy's such a fucking cornball.
That have set down the sword. You know, like other incredible trainers, professional fighters.
Like shirts off in the gym, like with your microphone.
And what is it about this environment that's so special?
Well, for one, I do this to feel normal at the end of the day. So, like, I need that little bit of fulfillment.
And I'm not even trying to hate on this dude. I just hate fucking Tim Kennedy.
For one, I just need to feel normal.
Look at him. Look at him here. Fucking like 50-year-old dude just like flexing like he needs attention.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna get off Tim Kennedy. Shout out to the Black Rifle Coffee Company for fucking dropping his ass and making all this stuff happen. Shout out to Black Rifle Coffee
That was the
Company.
thread that got pulled.
That was the fucking string right there.
Nice.
The final straw that fucking the whole Jenga fucking tower came.
Well, no,
down.
no, because you're 100% right too, and I guess I'll just end it on this. I mean, like, if you're out here fucking faking the funk and shit, and putting this out there, and putting this like aura out there of who you are and what you stand for, and it has to deal with the military, people that are risking their lives on a daily basis, and you're putting out lies about awards that you didn't win for people that put their lives at risk. Nah, bro, fuck all that.
Fuck all that. And then it's like you lie about that, right? What else are you willing to lie about? Like your social media, and this is what everybody hates about social media, right? The people who basically just put out that fake positivity to a super like crazy extent, like, oh, like I go to the gym 7 days a week, or like, oh, you're tired, just keep working. It doesn't matter if you're tired, just push through it. Almost like that. People don't like David Goggins for that, because David Goggins is a little bit like toxic with it. And I feel like that's what this guy is. Like, he's trying to be a model for how to live your life, right? But bro, he's lying about the military service. This guy's definitely lying about waking up at 5 a.m. in the morning too. He ain't fucking doing that. Or whatever time he says he wakes up in the morning, he's lying. Whatever he says he eats throughout the day, he's fucking lying. Let me guess. It's the fucking perfect thing to do. Let me guess. Yeah. It's the fucking, he's got the perfect diet. Let me guess. You know what I mean? He's got the fucking perfect schedule planner. Like, everything's perfect for Tim Kennedy. Why? Because he's a fake social media fucking bullshitter. Nothing about him is real. And like that, the fact that you lie about the military on that's like the highest, worstest thing you could possibly lie about. Yeah. It doesn't get worse than that. The honor of the country, the disgrace for people who have died for bronze fucking medals. And you're not gonna lie to me about what you eat throughout the day? Telling me you eat Greek yogurt for fucking breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Get the fuck out of here. You fucking eat Cheetos for breakfast and ice cream for dinner. We all know it. You wake up at like 8 a.m. Yeah. You don't even wake up early. You go to bed at midnight.
You know what's funny is just because, like, you know, I've been talking to a lot more like on some of these kung fu masters. Anybody out there listening to this, you want some knowledge? You want to have an example of how you should live your life? Go to a monastery. Go do a week's worth of kung fu fucking training and shit. Want to see someone live a life and fucking be very eating well, thinking well? The people are trying to get their education from the wrong people.
Bro, I would get anxiety just looking at Tim Kennedy's Instagram. You know what I'm saying? What kind of like the word that stands out to what you kind of said is like, go seek some peace. You feel me? That social media shit where someone's yelling in your fucking face about what you're not doing, trying to make you feel bad. That's what Tim Kennedy does. This is what he does. He says that he's in the gym, and then he's like, if you're not in the gym, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're just wasting your life away. It's like, bro, there's somebody who wants to go to the gym and they're sitting at home right now fucking lazy to do it. But they might be self-conscious because they're fat. And then they open up their phone, and now you're telling them, oh, well, you're still lazy because you didn't show up. When they're thinking in their head, well, I want to go, but I'm fat. You know what I mean? Like, people got issues, bro. You don't need to bash people and add to their fucking anxiety. So
yeah, I agree with that too.
Yeah, like the whole yelling at you to do you know, right and shit like that. Go seek some peace. Go hit the gym. You know what I mean?
And this is what
to a
this is
temple.
what great motivators do, the real ones. And much more face to face, I guess you could say. It's hard to do on social media, but you find what motivates every person, because what motivates Perry Punch and what motivates MTK could be two different things.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to get them on the right path to where they want to go, you dig deep, you find out, you know, and you use that as fuel to help them gain their goals, achieve their goals, which should fulfill you as you're helping them on the journey. So I think people are seeking knowledge from all the wrong people.
Yeah, and so I actually feel bad for Tim. It seems like he's a pretty lost soul, if you ask me. And he could probably use a mentor, somebody to come into his life and tell him how to live his life, because he doesn't know how to live his life.
And here's the bigger picture. There are more lost souls right now probably than ever because of social media.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
It's a dragon.
There's this other thing I've been seeing where I think Luke Thomas actually reposted today. He was saying like you know, like I say,
homie,
you say something good, say something profound. Hey,
you know what
I mean? I'm on to it. But he said like basically that constant scrolling on social media, there's gonna be some serious damages to it, in the sense of like when you cook food, right? You're listening to music or you're listening to a podcast. When you're brushing your teeth, you're listening to something on YouTube, right? When you're sitting on the couch doing nothing, you're scrolling on your phone. There's always a void or a need to fill that void of like silence, right? And that's actually because I'm always on social media because it's my fucking job. That's something I try to practice big in the day, is like going big chunks of time of just silence. Because I always have to be listening to like a video to get like an opinion on something and to learn something. So, and that's constant. That's like a lot of my day, and it kind of sucks. So there are times like if I shower or something like that, and like let's just say there's nothing playing, I'll like notice, okay, no sound because I just showered and shit, and I'll just like try to extend that for as long as I can.
100%.
Yeah, so that's something. If you be scrolling a lot, try to fucking get a little bit of silence throughout the day.
Yeah, Ray
or
and
if you
I
go on a walk, no fucking music. Just go for your little walk.
Yeah, Ray and I, he said something to me. I wrote it down the other day. Be comfortable being bored. Get to that point.
It's like being by yourself, literally, not without listening to those other voices. You know what I mean? Like by yourself in your own thoughts.
Yeah, be comfortable being bored. When I heard that, I was like, nah, that's 100% right, because we're always seeking something, some type of noise, some type of gratification, instant gratification too, you know, and you can put whatever that is, TV, social media, food, sex, music, whatever that void is.
Bro, I just thought of the best comparison. You ever sleep with a fan on?
Yeah.
And then what happens when you turn off that fan and try to go to sleep?
I can be like restless.
Right, because it's super quiet, right? It's that dead silence you're not used to. That always happened to me because I actually used to always sleep with a fan, but my fan broke and I just haven't bought a new one, so I got used to it. But that's why I always slept with a fan, because whenever there was no fan, I would notice it and it'd be like too quiet for me. And I feel like that's what that social media or always like filling that void does, is like once it turns off, there's like that itch, like you got an itch in your back. You feel me? And that's why you pull out your phone again and start fucking scrolling or put on a YouTube video. It's like the same as like sleeping with the fan on.
Yeah, I mean, these guys that created these things, you know, they modeled it after a slot machine, you know. Ching, 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 ching,
and I'd be adding to it, you know, we got clips that go out. We got clips that go out and add to the algorithm, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, we live in an entertainment world, you know what I mean? So like it's a double-edged sword for sure. You just gotta, it's like anything in life, you have to have balance, right?
You gotta balance it. Okay, here's a good one we could talk about.
No, what I wanted to bring up real quick was you had, and we can do a quick, what did we call it last time? The speed round or
yeah, but okay, so what do you want to talk about? Because we might have to talk about something else first.
Yeah, Julio Cesar Chavez arrested.
That's what I was gonna say.
Oh, okay.
So
well, his dad came out and his dad was like, nah, this isn't true.
Okay, so yeah, if you got something to tell me, I haven't seen what his dad said.
No, that was interesting that his dad came out and he said back to his son and said, no, that's not true. He has nothing to do with the cartel. This is wrong. This is not right. What's going on? So I mean, that to me was very telling, unless he has no idea what his son is doing. Like, I'm still on the fence of what's really happening with him. Part of me wants to say, nah, it's bullshit. Another part of me is like, maybe there's something to it. But then his dad came out and he spoke out on it to back his son, you know, which I think most fathers would do. But I don't know. I never heard of him anything with the cartel in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
So I guess there's some issues with him as far as like, I guess he's had issues with weapons, coming in and out of the country with weapons.
Okay.
So they accuse him of trafficking weapons in that case. Now that could happen to anybody, right? If I go from here to Mexico with a gun and I get caught, it's called trafficking a weapon.
Yeah, you can't be doing shit like that
So
for sure.
I'm saying that just to say that just because he might have some trafficking weapon charges doesn't exactly mean, oh, you're cartel.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah,
Anybody could get
100%.
weapon trafficking for crossing a border, you know what I mean, with a firearm.
Yeah.
So, but that is
But wasn't
something...
he arrested here in the States? It wasn't at the
think
border.
so. Well, no, I think he crossed the border and then they arrested him in the States and he had a firearm on him. And so that's when they kind of, you know, he probably, I mean, if I'm guessing, he probably got pulled over by a cop for fucking speeding or some stupid shit because Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. does stupid shit all the fucking time.
So that story hasn't came out either, like exactly how it all went down?
It pretty much has. We can get into it. Let's get into it.
Because, okay, just days after Jake Paul, he was arrested for allegedly trafficking firearms and ammunition and explosives.
No, I got it.
Oh. I saw the arrest video.
Yeah. No, I got the statement from ICE.
I did remember seeing that too.
I just gotta pull it up. Shout out to everybody watching. Appreciate you, boys. All right, Homeland Security. Here it is, boys. We ready. All right, get ready. Just fasten your seatbelts. DHS announces ICE arrest of Mexican boxer Sinaloa cartel affiliate with active criminal arrest warrant Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Washington. Oh, no, that doesn't. The Department of Homeland Security announced Immigration and Customs Enforcement detained prominent Mexican boxer and criminal legal alien Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and is processing him for expedited removal from the U.S. Chavez is a Mexican citizen who has an active arrest warrant in Mexico for his involvement in organized crime and trafficking firearms, ammunition, and explosives. In August 2023, he entered the country legally with a B2 tourist visa that was valid until February 2024. Chavez is also believed to be an affiliate of the Sinaloa cartel, a designated foreign terrorist organization. ICE arrested Chavez in Studio City, California on July 2nd. On April 2nd, 2024, Chavez filed an application for lawful permanent resident status. Chavez's application was based on his marriage to a U.S. citizen who is connected to the Sinaloa cartel through a prior relationship with the now deceased son of the infamous cartel leader, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. On December 17, 2024, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services made a referral to ICE that Chavez is an egregious public safety threat. However, an entry in a DHS law enforcement system under the Biden administration indicated Chavez was not an immigration enforcement priority. On January 4, 2025, the Biden administration allowed Chavez to re-enter the country and paroled him into the country at the San Ysidro port of entry. Following multiple fraudulent statements on his application to become a lawful permanent resident, he was determined to be in the country illegally and removable on June 27, 2025, which is like 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
This criminal illegal alien's rap sheet is below. Okay, so I guess here's what it is. January 22, 2012, California Highway Patrol arrested Chavez and charged him with DUI, alcohol, drugs, and driving without a license. So he comes into the country and starts doing bullshit like this. I literally predicted it.
That was back in what, 2012?
2012, yeah.
Over 10 years ago.
On June 23rd, 2012, the Superior Court of California, Los Angeles, convicted Chavez for the offense of driving under the influence of alcohol and sentenced him to 13 days in jail and 36 months probation. On January 14th, 2023, so that's about 2 years ago, a district judge issued an arrest warrant for Chavez for the offense of organized crime for the purpose of committing crimes of weapons trafficking and manufacturing weapons in the modality of those who participate in clandestinely bringing weapons, ammunition, cartridges, explosives into the country, and those who manufacture weapons, ammunition, cartridges, and explosives without the corresponding permit. So straight up, he got flagged by a district judge in January 14, 2023. Flagged for fucking sus-ass activity. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, whether he's texting about guns, whether he's sending money with weird fucking code names, we don't know. But he got flagged to the point where he just got a warrant straight up. Didn't do shit. He was sitting at home. A judge is like, oh, we see this. Okay. Arrest him. January 7th, 2024, LA Police Department arrested Chavez and charged him with illegal possession of any assault weapon and manufacture or import short-barreled rifle. The court convicted Chavez of these charges. On his first day in office, President Trump designated the Sinaloa cartel as a foreign terrorist organization. Sinaloa cartel, they're just basically saying how bad the cartel is. But one of the biggest things in here is that basically Chavez was deemed a threat to be in the U.S. and the Biden administration literally almost like, for lack of a better word, pardoned him. And when they pardoned him, when did they pardon him? January 4th, 2025, they pardoned him. So that's after, right? January 4th, 2025 is when they pardoned him. And I just told you, he was arrested January 7th, 2024 for weapons trafficking.
You know what's so funny about the United States is we have this huge thing about the right to bear arms. And homie's getting caught with guns.
Yeah, I guess. But it's because you got to have them legally.
Yeah, it's just funny to me, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, right to bear arms doesn't mean you can just have any weapon, unless that's what you think it should be.
That's what a lot of people think it should be. Not me. Not me personally. Like, yeah, assault rifles, whatever.
Well, no, you can have it, but so people say that like you should have weapons without any licensing.
Right. I mean, most people are gonna go and get their license, but there's a lot of people that don't, bro.
Yeah, whoever thinks that, I would probably have to disagree. Like, I don't think a gangster from the hood with fucking multiple felonies, fresh out of jail, should be allowed to carry a weapon.
Oh no, I don't think so either. But they do.
Not legally. That's why they go back to jail, because they carry weapons and then they get caught and then they go back to jail.
Yeah, and there's gangsters out there that have it legally too. You know what I mean? So like,
I guess, but are they really a gangster if they got it legally? Because you got to be in the state with all that shit.
There's a lot of gangsters that have it legally. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that sounds like some. See, that's that catch-22 in the gang life, because then you're basically a snitch.
No, what I'm saying is that because they've been able to not ever get caught, and so they were able to go get a gun legally.
Oh, I see
so now
what you're saying.
the whole house is strapped the fuck up.
Yeah, but that ain't how it works either. The one guy's strapped up, but like, you know what I mean, the rest of the people getting strapped up, that's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, but we can go from white people to black people to gangbangers to like the common like an attorney, whoever the case may be. You're allowed to go buy as many guns as you want.
You are.
So
I mean, there's different rules. Like in Arizona, you can like there's like that open carry law or something like that. It's different.
Bro. They're down south. These open carry law. People down south, bro. Like everybody's strapped.
Do you have to have a license in Arizona? Because you're from Arizona.
My family is, but I haven't been there in so many years.
You don't know the laws.
Yeah.
I'm curious if like
the other thing when I went,
the
homie was just I saw plenty of people just walking around carrying it. I know you can't do that here in California. You get fucked over.
You have to have a concealed carry, right?
Right.
I wonder if I could go to Arizona and just carry.
No, I'm pretty sure you can as long as you're not a felon.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But anyway, it sounds like he wasn't doing all the right activities. It sounds like.
Yeah. I was also gonna say, let me pull up. Oh, what else? So the fact that he is in a relationship with El Chapo's dead son's ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, that's crazy too.
I mean,
that's crazy.
Again, I'm not gonna cast any blame, but that is par for the course when it comes to the cartel.
Yeah, I'm more surprised.
Use a beautiful woman, get her in with Cesar Chavez Jr. How many of these cartel women you see locked up and everybody says free her because she's hot as fuck?
Yeah.
They said he also got they said that. I mean, first of all, you want to touch on that real quick as far as like him dating her?
Yeah, that's crazy work too. That's
You're playing with fire.
that is playing with fire.
And I mean, I want to say that he applied for an American visa, being with her, so that means he married her.
Yeah, see, I'm gonna do a little. I think we're gonna have to do a part 2 next week because I'm gonna dive a little bit more deeper on the story.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, no, but this is for a fact, right? Because when I did jiu-jitsu, my coach was from Brazil, and then the woman that he married and had a kid with was from here. She has U.S. citizenship, so he was getting U.S. citizenship through her. But you got to be married, or you got to be married or some shit like that before you can even like apply. So I think he was definitely like I think because it's like a marriage visa.
So you think he was using her? And we're
well, I'm just saying that he married her, which is crazy.
Right, that is crazy.
Like, because it's one thing just to like, you know, one night stand it, right?
Yeah,
you got in a full on like emotional entanglement and tried to marry her, but then to apply for U.S. citizenship. See, and these are ulterior motives that I can't say. Did you do it for U.S. citizenship? Like, and did the cartel tell you? I can't say that. But I'm just saying he married her because it said he applied for U.S. citizenship through his marriage license or something like that. So that's what. See, it's like when people start doing shit like that and gaming the system, I start to get worried.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of smoke when
and then you're carrying weapons, like, you know what I mean? You're still risking your citizenship by bringing in weapons and having them at your residence.
And why would you even do that though? Like,
because you're a part of, and see, I'm just gonna say it, but I'm not saying I believe it. Because you're part of the cartel, and like you got to do what they say. You're committing crimes regardless.
But why does the cartel care about bringing in guns?
Because they need weapons.
Bro, they could fucking have American citizens here buy fucking weapons for them. You know how many gangbangers fucking have felonies?
So you think it's just kind of like adding too much, like an extra step that's unneeded?
100% unneeded.
Like there's no need to bring it across the border, just get them here.
They're making billions, not thousands.
Huh.
They ain't worried about fucking little like guns and shit, bro. Like they got too much money to go be like, oh, care about Julio Cesar Chavez fucking running. No.
I guess okay.
Bro, they got shipments just coming.
Right.
Bro, they'll send 100 shipments knowing 70 will get caught, but the 30 that went through just made them a billy.
Yeah. No, I feel you. So I guess maybe that is a prehistoric.
And so they would rather pay him money to bring the money back.
Let me give you my reason. And again, this isn't what I'm saying for Cesar Chavez. I'm just trying to figure out the answer, right? Yeah. What if it's something along the lines of like, okay, because this is the other thing. Apparently they're saying Cesar Chavez Jr. was hired as like an enforcer, like a punisher for the cartel, to where the guys who committed crimes for them, he would beat their ass, right? They would get tied up and then he beat their ass. So I'm wondering, this is just because I try to make sense of everything. This is the best logic I could give you. When he goes and he beats their asses and stuff, right? So he's in with the cartel. You've heard of this before. But like, what if it's something where they don't really need him to traffic guns, but they're planting these crimes on him so that he's invested into the cartel? You feel me? Because if your hands never get dirty, then like you kind of have no stake in the game. But now if you have crimes that you've committed, you can't tell on the cartel because you're not. See, and look what's happening to him. Now he's fucked. So that's my guess. What do you think about that, generally speaking?
I mean, there could be something to it. You know what I mean?
Because like you're saying, it doesn't make sense why you're making him traffic. My thing is they just want him to get his hands dirty. Pure guess.
Mean, there could be something to that. I mean, there could be like a vendetta, like you said too, with the son's ex-girl and shit. So I don't know, bro. There's a lot of vines that are tangled on this story.
My thing with the son's ex-girl is almost like I feel like the cartel might have been like, hey, we got her in the U.S. You know, you're gonna link with her because she works for us too. They don't just let her go, bro. Come on, this is a cartel. They're like, hey, we got her in the U.S. We got her trapped in this fucking house. You know, guards are on her ass. You're going to go over there with her, use her to get a U.S. citizenship, and then, like, you know, be our enforcer. That's how I'm piecing it together. I would love for the details to come out.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go that far because, like, for example, I'm not going to speak too much on it, but, I mean, you got the Tijuana cartel here in TJ. I'm in San Diego, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if there's I'll just say this. Like, there's certain people I know in San Diego, not to even fuck with, bro. Like, nah,
Hmm.
nah, like, not happening. Not even going into that circle of communications with them. um,
Because of what will entail after that, right?
oh, bro,
And if
the
you get into
repercussions.
communication with the cartel, I mean, that's a slope you can't really turn back from. That's what I'm trying to say.
No,
Maybe it just fucking he got in contact with them, and it just became a slippery slope because they're gonna get you in bullshit, bro.
I mean, it could be. It could. I don't know. This is a will be an
My
ongoing
thing
story.
is, why did the Biden administration give him the A-OK? You talk about the U.S. You ever watch that movie with Tom Cruise where he's the pilot and the CIA approaches him and they
Kind of.
they basically give him a job to be like a trafficker for the cartel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I mean the U.S. government has always for the longest time basically been like facilitating drugs into the U.S., drug shipments and all this stuff, allowing it to happen. And
Yeah.
when you see something like now the Trump administration is exposing that Biden's administration went against court orders, right, and just basically let him back in the U.S. And this guy, think about it, being in bed with the cartel and all these things. It's just, I mean, it's all right there almost. You just got to almost put the pieces together and then wait for confirmation. But I mean, when you take Biden administration, when you take cartel, when you take the U.S. government's history in facilitating all this madness, when you take the wife, when you take weapons trafficking,
There's a
know what I
lot
mean?
involved.
I
There's a
mean,
lot.
you could
Yeah.
almost kind of paint this picture when you take
And
the
you got the
DUIs.
guns.
Yeah,
And you got the guns.
all
The
kinds of
guns too is very
it doesn't make any sense.
and it's almost like he thought he was above the law, so he could do whatever the fuck he wanted, however the fuck he wanted. But he was
Or you
playing
have
with
to make
fire.
or you have to commit these crimes because you got a gun to your head, right? It's one of those things. Because you're saying he might have thought he was above the law, but the other potential is that he had a gun to his head. He didn't want to do
Maybe.
it, but maybe they had a gun to his head.
Maybe.
There's a lot of ways you could go with it, right? But
Yeah.
it's very kind of like I feel like there's definitely a big puff of smoke.
He already got extradited to Mexico.
I believe so. Yeah, he got arrested by ICE and all that stuff. So
I mean, if we find out that he's dead in a month, I mean,
at least it was set up to go in that direction where he was
yeah, I mean,
working on
if we
getting.
find out that he's like dead in a month, you know that there's a lot more involved.
I guess so.
Yeah.
So I guess the government's gonna prosecute him there, and if he has to get charged with some stuff, then he's gonna end up in Mexican prison, and that's a dangerous fucking thing for Cesar Chavez Jr.
It can be, yeah, unless you got money.
Bro, Mexican prison with cartel charges, because
Wait,
the only way
just-
you're getting locked up is if
That, there you'll get extradited. There you'll get fucking you better
stabbed
start
up real
paying.
quick.
Well, no, you better start paying
Oh yeah.
immediately.
What? It's
Um,
not extradited.
immediately.
It's What's the word? Do you know the word?
More for like protection and shit.
No, I know, but I'm trying to get the correct word. It's not extradited. It's
I know what you're trying to say. Yeah. we'll
It's what
think of
Big U was doing. What was Big U doing?
it. I don't know. I can't think of the word right now.
Motherfucker, I can't think of it.
It's on it's on the tip of my tongue too.
Extorting, extortion,
Extorted, yeah.
extorting. His ass is gonna get extorted by fucking. They're gonna be extorting Senior.
That 100%.
But he also just fought Jake Paul, so whatever money he got off Jake Paul, they're extorting that.
Yeah.
If he gets locked up.
I'm gonna like I said, I'm gonna dive deep too a little bit. I'm gonna dig a little bit more deeper on this.
All right. Let's see. It's okay. It's 5:30. So maybe let's just see if there's anything mandatory to talk about. But we can.
I
pretty
forgot,
much
what did
wrap
we
it
call
up.
it last time when we went through a speed round, or what did we call
Yeah, do you
that?
want to do the speed round right now? Because
Yeah,
I'm pretty
just real
sure
quick.
that's all we got for the day.
So the 4 extra blows off hand with firework. The comments on some of those like videos,
they
bro.
said he went from 4 extra to 4 less.
The comments were nasty, dog. They were nasty. Shopcott says you only fight for title. I think that's a really wrong move
The
for
fucking
him.
entitlement on this man. Hang on. The entitlement on this man. Where does he get off?
I don't know.
I mean, do you notice I didn't even post that because I'm like, dude, I'm not fucking pushing your narrative, Shavkat. That's a sorry ass approach. You ain't done shit in like 2 years.
Yeah.
I get that you beat Ian Gary, bro, but all these guys are hungry as fuck, and you're not just gonna sit there and be like, oh, like I be, you know what I mean, fighting on my own time, and I only deserve it when I want to come back. He says he might not even fight this year, and he'll probably fight for the title next year.
And I think that's why, I think Ian Gary is growing on me too, because he's like, I'll fight anybody. That's why I love Joaquin. I'll fight anybody. Like a lot of these guys are like, hey, whoever. But I like that attitude better. This approach of like your entitlement to fight now for the title. It's not go knock out 2 more guys and you'll be undeniable again.
Here's my thing. What if everybody did that, you dumbass?
Yeah.
To Shavkat. What if fucking Sean Brady did that? He's got the number 1 next to his name right now, and he's calling out Ian Gary because he's accepting of the situation at least.
Yeah, and he's calling out Bilal. I'm more interested to be like, hey, are you injury prone? Is this gonna be a thing?
Well, clearly Shavkat's injury prone.
Because we need to get you back out there, like to UFC Nashville out there.
And him saying that he wants the guaranteed title shot, right, makes me think he's got another injury. Honestly. Because it's all written out there. JDM's got his fight coming up, right? You know that. You know that that's happening with Islam.
Yeah.
You know that it's going to take some time after that to get your fight going, right? And you've already been out for a whole calendar year. For you to not even say anything about wanting to get a fight going, to be active, to take Sean Brady's ranking, say something. The only thing you're saying is like, oh, I'm over it. Like, I'm going to wait for the title. It makes me think he's injured.
But I thought he just had surgery.
But like, didn't you just say he's injury prone?
Yeah.
So
but I mean, he hasn't been in the ring.
He's injury prone. He fucking got back to training after that surgery, and fucking something else happened. Now he's saying it without saying it. I'll just fight for the title when they offer it to me. It could be next year. It could be next year.
I honestly think that part of his team is like, I'll bring this side of it. Like, hey, you gotta put your name back out there. You gotta start, talking. You gotta get your name out there because you're gonna get forgotten. But it's too late. Like you can't play that game right now. You had to be playing that game last year after your fight. Yeah. That's why I think some of these guys, like you said, the star power, they're smart enough to say, hey, look, I got to keep putting my name out there. Got to keep, I like what Ian Garrins too. He called out Bilal, I like how Bilal clapped back too with the chat GPT.
Yeah.
But even like Joaquin, he kept putting his name out there. He kept putting his aura out there. That's how he got the Kamaru Usman fight, So he's even going back and like still making himself relevant even after a loss, so his team really needs to draw up a better thing here. Like you gotta call out Bilal, Sean Brady. Like you need to start screaming other guys' names.
100%. You're not gonna get that title shot just waiting.
No.
There's more guys who are gonna fight between now and fucking next year. If you're gonna keep sitting out, Brady's gonna add another name to it.
Like, imagine he calls out Sean Brady and he fucking submits Sean Brady. Everybody's like, whoa.
I feel like that is honestly what needs to happen. If you are the on paper number 1 contender and then you are the unofficial number 1 contender, you guys need to fight. And he stole your spot. Shavkat was number 1 contender, right? Brady stole it, and then Shavkat became the unofficial number 1 contender. There is something that needs to be settled there.
Yeah, and you could sell it because Shavkat's good on the ground, Sean's good on the ground, so it could be a stand-up war, and Shavkat could get him. So I don't know.
Yeah, but Shavkat definitely the wrong approach. I get it if your coach said do an interview, but again, I mean, like I said, it keeps popping back up in my head. I feel like he's injured. It's like this. Your coach tells you to go do an interview, and you're gonna say you're gonna sit out till fucking next year. I mean, you're crazy, bro. And that's why I feel like if your coach did tell you to do an interview, you would at least have more presence of mind to call out an opponent. That's honestly why I think he's injured. I'm just being dead ass honest. It's a prediction, and he's probably not even going to admit it because he already gave himself a... Yeah, what's the word that they use when you're an alibi? He already gave himself an alibi for another 6 months. So we'll never know, but just believe
12
that.
12 month alibi.
Well, I mean, by the time he steps back in the cage, right? If we're talking... What?
Well, if he's going to wait for JDM and Islam, we're talking next year.
Next year, so above 12 months. It's going to be like 15, 16 months. He might even push 18 months because nobody's going to fight his ass if he keeps up with this bad approach. Like I said, to start this off, what if everybody did that?
Yeah.
There's nothing to do now. Everybody's going to sit. Everybody has an argument for a fucking title shot, and you're just going to sit there on your high horse? Get real, bro.
He has a horse, too.
Yeah, I know. He likes to eat horse meat as well. I mean, he fucking loves horses. Shout out to Shavkat. I hear horse meat's actually pretty good.
I don't know.
Any more on the rapid fire? I heard Alistair Overeem, that was one of his favorite meats.
Yeah, Nah, we're good because I gotta get out of here now.
Okay. For sure. I guess that guy, just to mention it to you, that guy who fucking knocked out the that golfer, that was crazy.
Yeah, I saw that video. That was pretty cool.
And then just a quick one, just to get your thoughts. I probably won't even clip this, but Royval versus Moreno, they agreed to the trilogy. What do you think about that?
It's a good, it's a fan favorite fight.
Do you, for Noche UFC, you like that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I was looking back on their fights. The first one was odd because Royval injured his shoulder, right, in the first round. And I think Moreno TKO'd him from the shoulder injury. He took him down, shoulder slipped out, and Brandon punched him. Referee stopped it.
And then Royval won the next one, right?
Yeah, but you know how I call that one controversial because I feel like Brandon won that. Moreno, the second.
Oh, really?
I feel like Moreno won that. So what I'm saying is both of those results are controversial. The first one ended with an injury. The second one, there's argument that Moreno won it. So let's settle it.
I'm still in. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm still in awe that Joshua Van moved up 11 spots. I don't think I've ever seen a fighter move up 11 spots.
Yeah. No, it's the biggest jump aside from that would be like what, Kaya Sakura or Steve Erceg.
I don't know. Honestly, I can't. I'm gonna start keeping really tabs on this. Like in a year from now, I'm gonna see if we ever see that again.
Yeah. Hey, that's the flyweight division for you. So the fact that you're trying to keep tabs, I'll tell you right now. I'll predict the future. You got plenty more of these coming. This is the flyweight division. Everybody's one or two wins away from a title shot.
Cape would be next.
Charles Johnson, what's he ranked?
I don't even think he's ranked.
Okay, watch. He'll be ranked number 5 in a few months.
He needs to get a couple wins then.
Yeah, but watch. All he is two wins away from number 5 ranking.
And knockouts. That's the thing. Joshua, back on the map. You got some knockouts.
Yeah, but I was actually gonna say you got to be good on the mic. Funny thing is, Van's not even good on the mic.
Not yet.
He's actually pretty fucking bad on the mic.
Not yet.
But people like it.
They like the humbleness of it.
They like his kind of like demeanor. He's a little bit like the Nick and Nate Diaz demeanor. A little bit hood, so he's just not a talkative guy, and I think people notice that. They just read through it, and it's like, they kind of like it. You know, some people get away with being able to be mysterious.
Yeah.
I think Van is able to be mysterious. In fact, I would encourage Van to maybe not do too many interviews. Because I did see a couple clips from Ariel's interview, and I could see Van was trying to like come out of his personality and like give Ariel a bigger answer.
Right.
And I didn't like it. I want
Van, being a little bit forced.
I want Van just to say his one-liners. You know what I mean? And let the interviewer figure it out, bro. Because Nate Diaz is kind of like that. Nate Diaz says what he wants to say, and he's not going to give you more of an answer for your show.
Right.
I feel like, Van, be yourself. Don't give people extra answers. Because then you're buying into it, right? Because then that's basically you saying, oh, I hear people saying I don't talk enough, so now I'm going to force it. I don't like it that sometimes.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah. All right, bro. Shout out to all the boys watching. We had a solid little viewership today. And we'll see you next week, boys. Peace out.
Late.